In 2025, Kawasaki pulled off something nobody in Milwaukee saw coming. It knocked Harley-Davidson clean out of the #1 spot in America. And it didn't do it with just one motorcycle. It did it with an entire wave of affordable machines that many people laughed at, underestimated, or simply wrote off. 6 of those motorcycles are sitting right here. And the last one on this list, it's aimed directly at Harley's heart. Number 6. Honda Rebel 500. Here's a number that should make Milwaukee uncomfortable. The best-selling cruiser in America isn't a Harley-Davidson, it's this. The Honda Rebel 500, a motorcycle the hardcore crowd has dismissed as a beginner bike ever since it launched. They keep mocking it. Honda keeps making the sales. Let's start with the price because that's where the first punch lands. For 2026, the Rebel 500 starts at $6,799 with ABS now standard on every trim level. The dressed-up SE version starts at $6,999 plus a $600 destination charge. That's one of the least expensive, no-excuses ways into real cruiser ownership from a brand known for reliability. And what does that money get you? A 471cc parallel twin engine. No, it's not a torquey monster, but it is smooth, eager, and surprisingly fun to rev. It's also bolted into a chassis with a seat height of just 27.2 inches, one of the lowest seats of any cruiser currently on sale. And for real riders, that matters. A shorter or less experienced rider can put both feet flat on the ground at every stop. That builds confidence. It removes anxiety, and it's one of the biggest reasons so many new riders fall in love with motorcycling instead of giving up on it. Of course, no motorcycle is perfect. The Rebel ships as a solo seat bobber. If you want to carry a passenger, you'll need to buy the passenger seat and foot pegs separately. And while the 471 cubic centimeters twin performs beautifully around town and on back roads, it can start to feel stretched on long interstate rides or when carrying 2 people. This is a city and weekend cruiser, not a long-distance highway machine. Now compare it to one of its closest rivals, the Kawasaki Eliminator 450. The Honda gives up a little top-end excitement, but it answers with a larger dealer network and resale value that remains remarkably strong. Compare it with a Harley-Davidson Nightster or even the old Street 500, and the Honda is thousands of dollars cheaper to buy and significantly less expensive to own. And that's the entire point of this list wrapped into one motorcycle. The category Harley helped define, affordable and approachable cruisers, has quietly been taken over by a motorcycle costing less than $7,000. If you want the cruiser experience without the premium price tag and without expensive ownership headaches, the Honda Rebel 500 makes one of the strongest cases in motorcycling today. Number 5. Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. Most people walk into a dealership with one big fear about an affordable adventure bike, that it will leave them stranded somewhere far from home, with no cell signal and a cold engine. The Royal Enfield Himalayan 450 was built specifically to eliminate that fear. And at $5,799, it's one of the least expensive serious adventure motorcycles on the market. The old Himalayan became something of a punchline. Its 411 cubic centimeters single-cylinder engine was so slow that getting onto the freeway sometimes felt like an act of courage. Riders joked about it for years. So Royal Enfield started over. The company developed the new Sherpa 450 engine, a liquid-cooled, fuel-injected single-cylinder that finally has enough performance to cruise comfortably at 70 miles an hour without the motorcycle vibrating itself to pieces. And in the real world, that changes everything. It means you can actually connect distant trails using the highway instead of loading the bike onto a trailer. That simply wasn't the case before. And for the money, the equipment list is genuinely impressive. A proper Showa upside-down fork, a rugged steel frame designed to handle abuse, and a round TFT display with built-in navigation. Many competitors force buyers to choose between affordable and capable. The Himalayan 450 does its best to offer both. Of course, there are a few compromises. It's still a single-cylinder thumper. That means it can't match the smoothness or outright power of the twin-cylinder Honda we just discussed. And the tall seat can become tiring on long highway journeys, especially for shorter riders. If you're on the shorter side, it's definitely worth sitting on one before making a decision. But here's something many reviewers don't say out loud, the Himalayan's secret weapon isn't just the motorcycle. It's the company behind it. In 2025, Royal Enfield achieved its third consecutive global sales record, delivering more than 1.18 million motorcycles worldwide. International sales alone increased by an impressive 46%. While Harley-Davidson's entry-level models approach the $10,000 mark, Royal Enfield has been quietly winning over the exact riders many assumed would eventually buy a Harley. And that's why this motorcycle matters. For a new rider dreaming about someday taking a big adventure, the Himalayan 450 makes a compelling case. Because when that big trip finally happens, there's a very good chance this motorcycle will still be there, ready to go. Number 4. Kawasaki Eliminator 450. Picture a brand new rider walking into a Kawasaki dealership, terrified of dropping a 700-pound cruiser at a stoplight. They throw a leg over the Eliminator 450. Both boots touch the ground, and suddenly the fear disappears. That moment is exactly why this motorcycle exists, and it's also why cruiser purists dismissed it as nothing more than a beginner's toy. They were wrong, and the sales charts proved it. The Eliminator is powered by a 451 cubic centimeter parallel twin borrowed from Kawasaki's Ninja family, producing around 51 horsepower. On paper, that may not sound impressive. In the real world, it's a different story. The Ninja-derived engine pulls surprisingly hard and loves to rev, delivering a level of energy that many entry-level cruisers simply can't match. And the seat sits below 29 inches, making it one of the lowest motorcycles in Kawasaki's entire street lineup. For a nervous beginner or a shorter rider, that's more than a specification. It's the difference between gaining confidence and giving up altogether. Then there's the price, and that's where the Eliminator becomes extremely difficult to ignore. The Eliminator ABS starts at $6,799. The dressed-up SE ABS model starts at $7,099. That's thousands less than the least expensive Harley-Davidson cruiser. And for that money, you're also getting Japanese reliability and a slipper clutch as standard equipment. Of course, no motorcycle is perfect. The rear suspension is firm and offers limited travel, so rough roads can feel harsh. And the styling is conservative compared to something like the Royal Enfield, which has far more personality and visual charm. This motorcycle is a tool first, a fashion statement second. But put it beside its closest rival, the Honda Rebel 500, and the Eliminator's extra top-end performance becomes a real advantage. It's the kind of engine that keeps owners happy long after the beginner stage is past, and that matters. Because here's the headline that shook Milwaukee. In 2025, Kawasaki overtook both Honda and Harley-Davidson to become the #1 motorcycle brand in America. Meanwhile, Harley-Davidson dropped all the way to third place after suffering roughly a 16% decline in sales. Affordable, low, easy-to-ride motorcycles like this one are a big reason why. If you're shopping for your very first cruiser, the Kawasaki Eliminator 450 makes an incredibly strong argument. It isn't trying to impress you with tradition, it's simply trying to get you riding. And right now, very few motorcycles do that better. Number 3. CFMoto 450 NK. Park a CFMoto 450 NK next to a Yamaha MT-03 and a KTM 390 Duke, and the price tag does something almost shocking. The Yamaha and the KTM are the motorcycles everyone recommends to beginners, but the CFMoto undercuts both of them at just $5,399, while offering a feature list that feels like it belongs on a bike costing $2,000 more. That's the entire appeal, and it's exactly why so many riders mock this motorcycle before they ever rode one. The 450 NK is powered by a 449cc parallel twin engine. It comes with a genuine slipper clutch, full LED lighting, and a 5-inch color TFT display with Bluetooth connectivity. That's the kind of equipment you simply don't expect at this price. And out on the road, the real advantage comes from the twin-cylinder engine. It's smooth, it's flexible, and it avoids the vibrations that often make single-cylinder rivals tiring on longer rides. The result is a motorcycle that turns a difficult commute into something you might actually enjoy. Put it against the Yamaha MT-03 and you're getting more standard technology and similar performance for noticeably less money. Compare it with the KTM 390 Duke, and you give up a little outright sharpness in exchange for a lower price and a more comfortable seat. Of course, there are a few compromises. The motorcycle is tuned for friendliness rather than aggression. Experienced riders looking for a wild, wheelie-happy machine may want something with more attitude. And while the KYB suspension does a respectable job, some of the finer details reveal the bike's budget roots if you look closely enough. Its long-term resale value is also still being established. So why does a $5,000 Chinese naked bike belong on a list about challenging Harley-Davidson? Because this is where the journey begins. This is the motorcycle a 22-year-old rider buys instead of a more expensive option. They fall in love with riding. They discover the freedom of two wheels. And they never look back at the brand their parents thought they would eventually buy. Multiply that by a dealer network that grew to more than 700 locations in 2025. And you start to understand how a company that few people respected just a few years ago is now taking customers away from the established names. For a first motorcycle, the value offered by the CFMoto 450 NK feels almost unfair. And that's exactly why so many people are finally starting to pay attention. Number 2. Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650. 648 cubic centimeters, 2 cylinders, a 270-degree crank, producing around 47 horsepower and a thick wave of low-end torque. On paper, the Super Meteor 650 looks modest, and that's exactly how Royal Enfield intended it, because those numbers translate into the one thing a cruiser truly needs: easy, effortless pull. The kind that lets you short shift, settle into the seat, and simply enjoy the road ahead. Then you discover the price. The Super Meteor 650 starts at $6,999 and climbs to around $7,899 for the premium paint options. Suddenly, that modest specification sheet doesn't seem so modest anymore. Many reviewers expected something cheap and forgettable. Instead, they were genuinely surprised. The fit and finish earned praise normally reserved for far more expensive motorcycles with deep paint, quality metal finishes, and a level of detail that budget cruisers rarely deliver. That's the part people mocked before they actually saw one in person. Out on the road, the experience is pure old-school cruising. A low seat, relaxed ergonomics, and a 19-inch front wheel that gives the motorcycle a much more expensive presence than its price tag suggests. It's one of the few motorcycles that delivers the full cruiser experience without demanding a small fortune. Of course, all that character comes with a few compromises. The Super Meteor weighs well over 500 pounds with fuel, and that air and oil-cooled twin is tuned for torque, not speed. Anyone expecting explosive acceleration will likely be disappointed. The brakes also prefer a firm, deliberate touch. This isn't a motorcycle built for lap times or drag races. It's built for enjoying the journey. Place it beside a Harley-Davidson Nightster or even a Honda Rebel 1100, and the Super Meteor's advantage becomes obvious. It gives you genuine 650 cubic centimeter cruiser presence and a 3-year unlimited mile warranty for thousands less than the Milwaukee alternative. That value equation, premium feel with a budget-friendly price tag, is exactly why Royal Enfield continues posting record sales while Harley-Davidson works to regain lost ground. If you want a motorcycle that looks like it costs $12,000 but actually costs around $7,000, this might be the smartest move in the entire cruiser segment. And before we get to the final motorcycle on this list, that's a thought worth sitting with. Number 1. Honda Rebel 1100. Everything before this was an affordable motorcycle nibbling at Harley-Davidson's edges. The Honda Rebel 1100 is different. This is a full-size 1,084 cubic centimeter cruiser built to take Harley head-on. And the only reason some riders mocked it is because of 3 letters that scared off the purists. DCT. Yes, you can buy this motorcycle with Honda's automatic dual-clutch transmission. And for some traditionalists, that was enough to dismiss it immediately. It's not a real motorcycle. But here's what they missed. That 1,084 cubic centimeters parallel twin comes directly from Honda's Africa twin. which means it delivers real muscular torque throughout the rev range. And when paired with the DCT transmission, something remarkable happens. Heavy traffic becomes effortless. Stop-and-go commuting becomes almost relaxing. And when the road opens up, you can still take control yourself with manual paddle shifts. It's not a shortcut, it's almost like a cheat code for everyday riding. Then there's the price. For 2026, the Rebel 1100 starts at $9,699 plus a $775 destination charge. Yes, that's approaching Harley-Davidson territory. But look at what you're getting. Honda's legendary reliability, a genuinely powerful big-bore engine, and technology that many competing cruisers either don't offer or charge significantly more for. Of course, the Rebel isn't perfect. From the factory, it's still a stripped-down bobber. If you plan on carrying a passenger or spending long days on the highway, you'll likely want a passenger seat, a windscreen, and luggage. Those accessories add up, and while the engine receives almost universal praise, the styling divides opinions. Some riders love the clean, modern look. Others feel it lacks the old-school character and nostalgia of a traditional cruiser. But compare it directly with a Harley-Davidson Sportster S, and the Rebel 1100 makes an incredibly strong argument. It costs thousands less. It matches or exceeds it in real-world usability. And it offers the kind of long-term ownership confidence that many riders value more than heritage. In many ways, this motorcycle tells the entire story of this list. Similar money, less mythology, more motorcycle. And if you simply want a machine that works brilliantly every single day, the Honda Rebel 1100 may be one of the smartest cruisers on the market today. So there it is, 6 motorcycles that the experts laughed at. And now they're helping knock Harley-Davidson off its throne. If I had to pick just one, I'd take the Honda Rebel 1100. Full-size cruiser power, real-world comfort, and technology that makes a Harley-Davidson Sportster look expensive. All for a price that genuinely humbles the competition. But now it's your turn. Which one of these 6 motorcycles would you park in your garage? And more importantly, what would it replace? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe because the next motorcycle deep dive is already on the way.